Joining us now, Trump campaign senior advisor and daughter-in-law to the president, Lara Trump. Lara, welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Thanks, Chris. Great to be with you.
Let's start with the breaking news. As we've been reporting, the president will be traveling on Tuesday to Kenosha, Wisconsin, the site of that police shooting and a violent protest since then. Why? What's the message he wants to deliver in Kenosha?
Well, I think the message is that he cares about each and every American. And, you know, this is a situation where you've seen, sadly, that throughout this country in Democrat-run cities, the people that are in charge, the mayors of these cities, have let their citizens down. They have not upheld the laws. They have not protected the citizens. They have not protected small businesses. The president is going there because he cares about every single American in this country. He wants to make that known. And you saw that the National Guard was able to go in, fortunately, to Kenosha. They quelled the violence in about 24 hours. Everything was over there. So thank God. No more people are getting killed and injured, and there aren't any violent mobs roaming the streets. And that should be the model that I think all these mayors, the Democrat mayors that are playing politics instead of looking out for the safety of their citizens, should look to this and say, hey, the president has offered all of us this opportunity, and they should take it.
Lara, you say that the president cares about each and every American while he's in Kenosha. Will he meet with Jacob Blake, the man who was shot 7 times by a policeman, or will he meet with members of the Blake family?
Well, I know he's reached out to the Blake family. I don't know that they were able to connect yet, and I don't know for sure if that's on the agenda. I'm sure if given the opportunity, he would be more than happy to do that, but I haven't gotten that information just yet.
All right. Both you and the president talked at the convention about the violence, the surge of violence, whether it's protests or crime in our streets, and both of you blamed the violence on the continuing, as you said, weak response by Democratic politicians. Here was Joe Biden's response to that.
He's rooting for more violence, not less, and it's clear about that. And what's he doing? He's kept pouring gasoline on the fire. This happens to be Donald Trump's America.
Now, obviously, nobody wants to see violence in American streets, but as a practical matter, does the president, does his campaign think that this violence in the streets plays to the president's political advantage in the campaign?
Well, that is never something that any of us would want to see happen. Absolutely not. I think, unfortunately, it looks really bad, specifically for Joe Biden and the Biden campaign, because, Chris, you might remember that it took him about 3 months to finally come out and condemn this violence and say that people should stop doing it. The president from day one has been saying this, and I'll reiterate what I just said in my last answer to you, which is that the president has said, I have federal resources available to every mayor in every city across this country. We don't want violence in our streets. We want to keep people safe. If you don't have safety in your communities, what do you have? Nothing else matters. So I would put the onus on Joe Biden and say it took him a little bit too long to come out and say that this wasn't a problem. And I think it's probably because he knows that that is his base and he doesn't want to upset these people. And so, you know what? I think it looks a lot worse for him.
Well, let's talk about the political implications, because here's what Kellyanne Conway had to say on this subject this week. Take a look.
There was a quote today from a restaurateur in Wisconsin saying, are you protesters trying to get Donald Trump reelected? He knows, full stop, and I guess Mayor Pete knows, full stop, that the more chaos and anarchy and vandalism and violence reigns, the better it is for the very clear choice on who's best on public safety and law and order.
The better it is, she said, the more violence in the streets, the clearer the choice for voters on the issue of law and order.
Yeah, well, I think it certainly paints a very clear picture. Look, what did we see after the convention wrapped the other night when people were leaving the White House, Chris? We saw that it was, you know, this anarchist mob that was attacking Trump supporters, attacking Republicans, yet you didn't see that happening on the other side. There was an opportunity at the end of the Democrats convention where we could have had people attacking their folks, but that would never happen. It only goes one way. So if there's one person in that crowd that for a second thought, you know what, maybe I'm going to vote for Joe Biden, maybe I'm going to vote for the Democrats, I bet their mind was changed very quickly. The people that you see, by the way, getting accosted and harassed at restaurants around Washington, D.C., I understand that one of those women, was marching in the previous weeks with the BLM protests. I wonder what she wants to do now as she heads towards November 3rd. I think the point is that the more this happens to people and the more they see that this is a mob that in effect has been supported, and it really has monetarily been supported by bailing out, these violent criminals from folks in the Biden campaign. People wonder, why would I vote for this? Why would I want to see this continue in America? I don't think they do, and I think they know President Donald Trump is the person that has been saying this has to stop from day one, and he wants to see it stop all around this country.
All right, let's talk about the fall campaign, because we're told that starting after Labor Day, although he's already started, the president is expected to go out a couple of times a week and hold rallies of some sort in key states around the country. This last week, on Thursday, as part of the Republican convention, the president gave his acceptance speech on the South Lawn of the White House. We're showing pictures of it now. More than 1,500 people packed in, very few masks, no social distancing. Lara, is the president just going to ignore the public health guidelines?
Well, look, we always, whether it's at this event you saw at the White House or at any campaign event, we always encourage people to follow the guidelines and to do what they think is best for themselves. So we always have masks available. We encourage people to use them. We always have hand sanitizer available. And we encourage people to spread themselves out. But I think, as it always works out, people always rush towards the front of the stage. They want to be around this president. They pack themselves in. And look, at a certain point in this country, I think we all have to recognize that people want to get back to normal. And you know what? Maybe it's going to a Trump rally that does that. But we are always following the guidelines. We had health professionals work with our convention team the entire time. We followed exactly what they said we should do, and we'll continue to do that.
But some health officials say, the fact is you did stack the chairs right next to each other. Some health officials say this has the potential to be a super spreader event.
Yeah, well, it was an outdoor venue, and I'll remind everybody that the folks that were spitting in the faces of our people leaving the convention that night were not social distancing. It was an absolutely disgusting display. The next day, there were, thousands of people on the National Mall all packed together as well. So, look, we either have to say that everybody plays by the same rules, or we have to stop talking about it. Because whenever you're talking about the president's campaign, and how people weren't specifically socially distanced, but the next day, thousands of people on the National Mall, and that's not a problem for anybody, it seems a little hypocritical.
Let's talk about your speech to the Democratic convention, because you made a very specific appeal to women voters, and there's a reason for that. Let me put up some numbers from the campaign. In the last Fox News poll before the convention, the president is trailing Biden 51% to 39% among women, and trailing even worse, 58% to 35% among suburban women. Lara, why does the president have such a problem with women?
Well, I don't think it's that he has a problem with women. I think it's the way that he gets portrayed by and large in the mainstream media. I think women specifically, maybe don't like everything he tweets, and they're more inclined to tune into the 92% negative media coverage of this president. But that is why, Chris, we at the campaign are doing everything we can to remind women, look, don't think about what this president has said or the way he delivers a message specifically. Look at what he's actually done for this country. So we have bus tours going all across this country. We started about a month ago with our Women for Trump bus, bright pink. You can't miss us out there across the country. And we're out talking about the results produced by this president, because at the end of the day, women want to know specifically that the opportunities are available for them. You saw that we had a 65-year low in women's unemployment among this since this president took office. You've seen that, the number of jobs created for women in 2019 alone, 70% of those new jobs created went specifically to women. We have to remind people out there, you know what? Tune out the distorted and biased commentary out there and look at what this president has done, and that is our strategy.
Lara, thank you. Thanks for your time this weekend. Good to talk with you. Please come back.
Thank you.